So welcome back to Visual Theory, and we're going to be looking at our next assignment in the packet, which is our nighttime nocturnal assignment. These images taken of the Northern Lights, I think, are extraordinary. You won't be able to do this, of course, but it does illustrate a part of the potential of what we can achieve. And digital photography has really opened up the potential of nighttime photography. It really, for me, it shows our position in space on planet Earth, that connection with the magic of space. And before the photographs of the Earth taken from space back in the 60s, we had no concept of the globe and its position in space, not visually. And so that was a real game changer, those early pictures. And I think these pictures that we can see now really capture a part of the magic of the potential of what can be done. So we'll look at a few more pictures in just a while, but you guys have got a special treat. We're going to be photographing the moon, but on the 26th, in 2 days' time, it's going to be a supermoon, but also a lunar eclipse, and that's what you're going to need to capture. It should be starting around 9:15, 9:30, and then the full eclipse should be about 11:30 in the evening. It may be a little bit cloudy, but do what you can. Hopefully you can capture something through the clouds, even if it is cloudy. But there's only a one-shot chance to get this of the lunar eclipse, of course. And there'll be other nights when we'll be able to see the moon. But the lunar eclipse is really what we want. And this from NASA's site, as we approach month's end, there is not one, not two, but three celestial events happening with our moon. The moon will be located on Earth's opposite side from the sun and fully illuminated May 26th, 2021 at 6:13 a.m. I'm not expecting you to do it in the morning. I want you to do it in the evening. So this full moon was known by early Native American tribes as the flower moon because it was the time of year when spring flowers appeared in abundance. Compared to other full moons in 2021, the flower moon will have the nearest approach to Earth, making it appear as the closest and largest full moon of the year. This is what is commonly referred to as a supermoon, yet it's not just bringing brightness and size. May's supermoon is also bringing a superpower to change its color, and the color is red. And that's what we're going to be looking at. Let's look at a couple of other images here. So what you're going to see is the stages of the Earth's shadow going over the moon, and you'll need to adjust your exposures accordingly. From a technical point of view, you've got to use a tripod. You've got to be on solid ground. Don't have a tripod on a deck or anything that is not fixed to absolute solid ground, because all of that will create camera shake, and you'll see that in your final images. And as the shadow of the Earth comes across the moon, you're going to have to adjust your shutter speeds, adjust your aperture, and that's going to have an impact on the final result. Ordinarily, the moon is a very, very bright object in the sky, surrounded by absolute blackness, and exposure-wise, it's quite surprising. f5.6, 400 ISO at 250th or 1/500th of a second is generally what we'd be looking at as a start point. But we want to capture all of the detail in the moon as we can see it on these images here. And the lunar eclipse, we're going to see a glow of the Earth, and you'll need to adjust your exposures accordingly. In addition, a telephoto lens. And if you can get the longest telephoto lens to get in really, really close for this and kind of get the final result that you really want. All right, I'm going to go a quick step back and look at our overview document. So last week, first class, when we were looking at our landscape assignment, the due date for that is today. And so you should have those images shot. Once we've gone through the video and got prepped for the nighttime assignment, you need to be thinking about editing and working on those images. There may be another video to help you out with that as well in a little while. Today, we're looking at the lunar eclipse, and on Thursday, we're going to start with looking at lens design and thinking about light as a part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So that's going to be a technical class. You need to come, make sure you got your notebooks, taking notes, and getting up to speed with all of that. Let's look at the assignment sheet for today, and then we can put that down and move on to looking at the actual work and how we're going to do it. So 11/22/02, due date is the 2nd of June. That's going to be coming up fast. You've got a one-shot chance to get the lunar eclipse on the 26th. And your assignment is to do 2 or 3 different other things as well. So image of the moon, so looking at the lunar eclipse there, a nighttime city or town scene using a timed exposure and tracking movement. This is like a motion blur image. You remember motion blur when we're photographing rivers with running water and everything is sharp except the water is moving. The nighttime shot, we're looking at car headlights that are moving, and we'll be able to see the streaks of the car headlights, but everything else will be static. And again, using a tripod and adjusting your exposure accordingly. It may be using an exposure of something like 30 seconds, stopping down to f16 at 200 ISO as a start point, but you can experiment with that to make sure that you can adjust your exposures. Then we're going to do a composite image that's going to combine a picture of your nighttime scene and your moon. And then an optional extra could be images of the stars. With reference to the North Star is the only star that's fixed in the sky. And so if you do a timed exposure with the North Star in either the center, it could be the golden mean, you'll see all the other stars rotating around that. And that can be pretty cool as well. 12 images in total required for the assignment, 3 of the moon, 6 of nighttime city scene, and 3 of the composite, combining those images together with the option of, if you wanted to do stars, you can include 3 images of that and then leave out 3 of the nighttime scene. So it's either going to be 3 or 6 of the nighttime scene. That's up to you how you handle that. All right, let's move on and look at some star images. That was the optional extra that you could look at, and even more than I think those pictures with the Northern Lights, which are extraordinary. These images really give us a sense of our place in space and being on planet Earth. But it's not planet Earth that's separate from the galaxy and the universe, and that's what we're looking at here. Really, quite magical. All right, so there's several things here that we're looking at, and I'm going to move on. Let me see. Stevie Clack, our previous student, this is her shot of the moon, and she did a nighttime scenes, a little bit of camera shake in these, but some really nice ideas. And I really love the kind of romance of this situation here. We've got the couple at night, and when you're thinking about the image that you want to combine your city scene with the moon, try and think creatively. Where would the moon actually be? Is it something that's going to represent something that's romantic? Is it going to be something that's kind of spooky and dark? Howling wolves at the moon, or I used to be a werewolf, but I'm all right now. Actually, my dog's going to be howling in the background if I do that. I better not. But think creatively. How can you actually create a city scene or a nighttime scene that is going to work really well with the moon in it? And let's look at Annette's images here. So Annette has or had this image and combine them into this image. And so I'm going to look at how we can do that together. I'm going to open both of these images in Photoshop. And we can look at the two together. First of all, I want to get the moon onto the background image. So we'll go here. I'm going to use the elliptical marquee tool, and I feathered it with 20 pixels, and I'll be able to do this and draw a circle. I can move around, and that's not quite big enough. So let's do another one. Here we go. And now I'll be able to drag that image onto the background here. The size of it isn't too bad, but if you're thinking the size is not right, we can use our free transform tool. So on the drop-down menu, edit and free transform. I can adjust the size of it, make sure that you have your chain link up here clicked so that the aspect ratio remains the same. What we don't want to see is a moon that's been twisted into an odd shape, although that does look pretty cool. But that's not what I want to see, so let's make sure that we don't do that. So we can adjust the size of this. Oh, I've done it again. So let's have it here and position it here. I think it's a little bit different position to Annette's, but we can choose how we want to do that. And then it may be that it's too light or too dark, or that we need to do further adjustment. Where I feathered the image, there's a little bit of blackness. You're not going to see it around here. It's blended in, but if you need to, you could use a layer mask. Very familiar how to do that. Add a layer mask and you can brush out around the moon to get rid of any of that darkness. But in addition, what we can do is blend the brightness of the two images together. And it may well be that the moon is too bright for you. So you can change the opacity, would be the easy kind of go-to on this. And we can adjust how bright or dark the moon appears in our final image as well. A lot of creative things that you can do with this. And as I say, I want you to do 3 images of combining the moon and the city scene together, but think creatively about how you can do that. So a good deal of brainstorming on what can be done. Think about locations, how you can get there. It could be a big city, it could be a small town, but think about how those car headlights and the trace of those car headlights may turn out. All right, that's it for planning on the nighttime assignment. Get thinking about how you can do this. You can go online and do additional research as well. The other part of the class today is getting your images, your landscape images delivered. If you've not shot any yet, then you should have had them shot and ready to deliver. But get out on campus, go down to the barn, go down to the lake, go through the woods, do some close-up images, and try and get some landscape images together. Probably not the best location, but better than nothing. And don't do that straight away, because I'm going to do another video. That's the plan. I hope there's going to be another video that's going to talk about how we can edit the images that you should already have. And as I say, deadline today for the landscape images. So I want you to be working on those and getting that job done. Okay, that's it for now. What's happened here?